This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Fox, Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24. So pregame 6:30 tomorrow after bumpity.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling after bump.
Sweet. 6:30?
Yeah, I think so.
Up, so probably about 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, and then we let those guys take over, Alan Horton and the crew, and listen right here on KFAN.
Are we howling with the homies after the game?
I don't know if we are officially yet. That's in the works. I think it's going to be a little late.
Got it.
But we'll kind of figure out time-wise what makes sense.
The Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via X. How do the just street? You're an elite basketball mind. Okay, you're an elite boxing one and floppy action mind. So
you know what the floppy action, man.
Stream your.
You know what the floppy is.
I had a 10-minute chat at church yesterday where I volunteer at my church Sundays as a greeter. And Lance Wansten, I always mess up his last name. He's the varsity basketball coach for Rosemount High School.
Oh, yeah, great.
So we chat every single week. We chat ball every single week. And then I brought up floppy action. Well, he missed 2 of the 3 songs before the preach because he's breaking down floppy action. It's a European thing, this, and starts at the wing and all. And I'm like, whoa, geez, I thought the book of Leviticus was tough until we just handled.
That's the book of Tom Izzo right there, the floppy action.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
Okay, well, you're an elite floppy action mind. So what are some things that has to happen for the Minnesota Timberwolves to beat OKC and get to the NBA Finals?
I think Chris Finch has to be excellent. I think it starts with our head coach. Mark Daignault on the other sideline is excellent. He's proven, the way he's kind of worked his way up this coaching rank in, the G League and into the NBA, and now getting his team to the Western Conference Finals, and the way they stored these picks and they got all these guys.
Off what you said, in all my years interviewing Chris Finch, he has had the most glowing, positive things to say about the Oklahoma City coach. Is it how do you say his name?
Mark Daignault.
Yeah, Daignault. It's not Daignault. Daignault. He is such a fan of Daignault and what he does down there. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and I believe that he would say that without even hearing it, because he is awesome, and the way that they've kind of formulated what they want to do. They go out and get a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein to kind of add more power and size to their front court. They add a guy like Alex Caruso to their back court off the bench, kind of like what we did with Julius Randle in our front court and Dante DiVincenzo in our back court. It almost seems like this Wolves and Thunder team were kind of playing chess throughout the preseason into the regular season. It took some time for us and Julius Randle to kind of adapt to what we wanted to do. It took some time for the Thunder, even though they were the best team in the league. I think this one comes down to how you operate the substitutions, where you go at the end of quarters, because as we saw in Game 7 last night, I think the Thunder were down like 10 or something like that going into the last 6 minutes of the second quarter, and then boom, just like that, they took over that game, and it was gone from there. Such vital points of the game. The way you end quarters and halves are so important. I think that's such a coaching matchup deal.
Damn, big boy's playing fast right now.
Just an old-fashioned ass-kicking right here.
How excited are you for, I'm excited, of course, Hal OKC, yes. Hal Shea, that's the A topic. On the other side, Knicks, Indiana Pacers.
Ooh-wee.
That thing's, this is the state of hockey. So, we'll probably spend 5 minutes tomorrow going over the likes of Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Hey, remember when you watched the NCAA tournament and those good Gonzaga teams? Mm-hmm. Nemhard played for them, so you may remember him. But the Eastern Conference finals, that thing's going to be cool too. Who do you like there?
Yeah, selfishly, if I see my Timberwolves in the finals, I would love to see a New York Knicks finals with it.
Would you really?
I mean,
I'm not sure I could handle it.
It would be a lot.
Yes.
There's so many storylines.
Yes.
You got the Tibbs storylines. You got the Cat storylines. You got the Dante versus Jalen Brunson's dad storyline. Like, there's so much there that ESPN's going to run away. That was preseason. Yeah.
Rick Brunson wanted to fight Dante.
He was going at Dante. He
That's
had to get held.
Right.
He had to get held. We talked about it on this show. He had to get held back by some of the staffers.
Dante's a tough guy.
Oh, yeah. Rick Brunson's tougher.
I don't know if I'm messing with Rick Brunson. Well, you don't want to mess with a mad dad.
No, you don't.
Because that's when you get the country strength that you didn't see coming.
That's true. That's very true.
That's right. In the handshake line, DiVincenzo, the former Nick.
Yeah.
And Rick. Oh, wow. That was aggressive.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on if that were to happen. But you talk about
Tibbs' aggressive arm and handshake.
Yeah, no doubt. It's all over the board there. It's all over the board there. But I think don't discredit the Indiana Pacers, too. They're led by Tyrese Halliburton, who's obviously done it at an elite level. He's going to have a tough matchup with Jalen Brunson. That's going to be kind of a 50-50. We'll talk about 50-50s throughout the Wolves series too. But the Indiana Pacers do some really good things inside out. They have a lot of wing depth, a lot of perimeter defense. TJ McConnell's a guy to look for in that series. But I think that one's going to be just, if you want to talk about hard, just defensive basketball, making the right plays, all that kind of stuff. And then, letting Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton try to lead you to the promised land. But in that one, I got Knicks. I'm going Knicks in 7.
But you're being emotional.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you're being romantic with the whole thing.
I know. I want it to happen.
Yeah,
man.
because Indiana can win for sure.
They can win. I think a lot of people are discrediting them. They're talking New York Knicks basketball, and they're saying the Knicks are back in the promised land. What we saw Indiana do to the Cavs, don't leave that out.
That analysis there is as good as you're going to hear.
Good stuff.
The only thing better is the money we have to give away right now with Nordo.
Yeah, the Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand. As I should say, I've been messing it up all morning. Let's talk about bonus bucks. How about some bonus bucks thanks to BigDeck.com? National Cash Contest. Use the keyword grand at KFAN.com for your chance to win. Grand is the keyword. You just plop it in there. KFAN.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
And Parker Fox's girlfriend, Taylor Heisey, one of the best women hockey players in the world, well, she's embarking on a championship too. The hooking Ottawa for the PWHL title. Is this the second year of the league?
Second year of the league.
So they'd go bang, bang.
Bang, bang. Back to back, hopefully.
Right. It's so crazy, man, because I remember chatting with Taylor the last time I saw her in person near the end of the year. And it was like, I'm not kidding here, like 6 things had to happen for the Minnesota Frost to make the postseason. And like 2 of them included other teams losing and like losing in regulation.
Yeah.
So everything went bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And then she scored the series winning goal, right?
That's right. Yep,
against
correct.
who?
Toronto.
Against Toronto. And then now gets Ottawa for the championship. She's practicing in Canada right now. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a quick finals. It's a 5-game series in this PWHL every other day. So you got, I think they're mimicking the Wolves schedule, but the beauty of it is they play before. So, you get 6 Central Time games on the road, and then you'll get 4 p.m. Central Time games at home. So check out the Minnesota Frost. I think you can catch them on FanDuel, you can catch them on YouTube Live, all that kind of stuff. So,
So
really
they
good.
do not go opposite the Wolves?
No, they don't go opposite. They're same day.
Okay.
Same day parlays.
I was going to say that's good work by their media relations mogul, Joe Anderson, formerly Mr. Fun from KFAN.
Yes, sir.
Because if they had them up against the NBA,
I always love that one.
I mean, seriously, it'd be only a handful of people who probably watched, right?
Yeah, no doubt. It's a different, you get a different kind of, crowd and environment and fan base, but still, I think it should be anytime you're playing for a championship, I hope people come out and get down to St. Paul, get down to the last couple of days of the Exxon Energy Center.
So Saturday at the X for game 3, right?
Yeah, Saturday at the X for game 3.
And then Monday,
4 p.m. puck drop, and then Monday is a 4 p.m. puck drop as well.
Sweet.
So,
all right.
yes, sir.
Go Frost, go Taylor.
Go Frost.
Alrighty. So this series, we have 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
This series is so antithetical to the last two.
Yes.
With Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chet's 7 feet.
Yep.
Hartenstein's close.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going against Jackson Hayes, who was awful for the Lakers, then the next series, you got Draymond, who knows how to play the game against any size.
Yep.
But they're not predicated on bigs. I mean, Oklahoma City's predicated on 3-and-D, probably best point in the NBA in SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But if you get by our guys, we got Chet and we got Isaiah down by the basket. So this is going to be new for us. What do you think of the pairing?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a complete chess match, a complete who's who of defensive effort. Both these teams kind of pride themselves on depth and what they do defensively on that side of the ball. Yeah, I think you're right, PA. Chet Holmgren with a 6% block usage. He really guards.
What does that mean?
Basically, anytime he's in the paint, trying to, affect a shot, he's blocking 6% of shots down there.
Which means 94% of the time he's getting dunked on.
Well, not necessarily. Could be missed dunks too, right?
But if it's, we don't have enough time to.
Okay, we won't go crazy analytical. But he's high. He's high
right.
in the block rating, right? So, but it's the same thing with the Timberwolves. We're big inside. We have two bigs inside.
Why is 6% high?
Because
that means 94% he's getting dunked on.
Well, not 94 could be misses too. So
he's forcing passes back outside.
Yeah, great for wide open 3-pointers.
No easy buckets. No easy buckets.
No easy buckets is what we're saying. Right?
I got it. What's Rudy's bit there?
That's a good point. I don't know. Probably similar.
Yeah.
Probably maybe more. That's why he's won so many DPOYs.
I don't have a stat head for that. I'm sorry.
But no, I think it's such a complicated matchup because of the guys you bring off the bench, Caruso and the other Taysom Wallace. I know you don't like the other Jalen Williams.
No, I do. I like Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of when I'm just watching games, they're one of my favorite teams to watch. They're fast. They lock you down on defense.
Yep.
They turn it over fewer than anybody else in the league. They take it. So like the take-give bit from football, they are so by far the best of any team in the NBA.
Yeah. At
that critical, now it's not as critical as a football game because, you may get 60 to 70 plays in the NFL and you're going to get a zillion plays in basketball, but they take the ball from you more than anybody and they give it to you less than anybody. And I respect that.
Yeah, I think the turnover battle is going to be something you have to look at, too. When you look at the last Timberwolves game, I think Julius and Ant combined for 10-plus turnovers, something you just can't have. In one of Minnesota's loss to the Thunder, we had 24 turnovers leading to 31 Thunder points. They're a team that want to get out in transition. They want to push the ball. Shai is a guy that's really going to set the tempo in that space. Something to watch with Shai is I think we have to continue to throw long defenders on him, i.e. Jaden, i.e. Nikhil Alexander-Walker. He's really great in the mid-range, but where he really excels is when he can get a hip. And what I mean by that is if you can get by the primary defender's hip, that allows you to either finish at the rim or if help side comes, create plays for others, which they have shooters all over the place. They have dump down guys for dunks like Hartenstein and Chet. I think you have to continue to really try to find ways to shrink the court, keep Shai in front of you, and if he can beat you in the mid-range and shooting threes, that's what you live with. You don't want him getting to the rim and facilitating, making plays for others.
Sounds like a breakdown of routes to slowing Jimmy. Slowing Jimmy Butler.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, because before Butler lost his engagement level with the series and just stopped trying to score, it was embarrassing, quite honestly. you could tell, and we followed him all of his career. Jimmy Butler does not want to shoot 3-pointers.
No.
It's you can leave him there and go, hey, kitty, kitty. It's like that Goodwin piece in the first series. Just leave him open. He's never going to hit it. The guy sucks from 3.
Yeah.
Shea's not like that, though, but he's not transition pull-up 3 guy, is he?
No, he's not. He's a guy that can make the 3, but he's, in the lower 30s. When you talk about point guards that are really shooting the ball well, they're in the higher 30s to 40. He's a 51% field goal percentage. So when he's able to kind of get inside the lane.
He shoots 51% shooting it that many times?
He gets to the hoop and he shoots a ton of free throws.
And shoots a ton of free throws. I was actually looking up before I came on. I thought he was shooting less free throws in the playoffs than he was in the regular season, and it was only by like a tenth of a free throw per game.
When you see what he was doing against us too, well into double-digit attempts each game.
Yeah, the only thing that's down for him a little bit is his free throw percentage, but that's only down about 4 or 5% coming into the playoffs. He's a guy.
Well, it's Jimmy K behind the hoop.
That's true. That's true.
That impacts things.
That's true there, but he's such a maestro with the way he plays basketball. We've seen this with guys like Jokic and Luka Doncic just kind of, almost abusing the rules of the game and the way it's refereed, something that Shea is going to do as well. But I think, like you said, you were talking with Mick talking about the defensive kind of continuity that needs to be on him. You don't want Jaden to have fouls early. You don't want Nickeil Alexander-Walker to come in and, have 2 and then you have to bring somebody else off the bench. And I like the point about Jalen Clark, too. Yeah. He's a guy that played in the regular season versus team. I think he could see minutes guarding Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I'm not mad at that. The only way I'm mad at it is if what you've done has worked.
I like that too.
And so like if it ain't I'm not necessarily if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because something new is required each series to keep the other guy a little off balance.
Yes.
But Clark had to start 3 times because Randall and Gobert weren't playing.
Yep.
Go ahead and take a look at with Naz Reid starting against OKC.
Dominant.
Might have had a double-double every game.
Yeah.
Right. He had a 24-11 game with like 5 threes. But Naz was a major problem for OKC, but that's when he was starting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be different.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what we do inside. The Timberwolves, that lineup of Ant, Dante, Nas/Jaden, and then Julius and Nas has been the most efficient lineup in the 2024-2025 NBA regular season. So I think that's something they go to as well. A plus 20 when it comes to efficiency is high, very high. So I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid coming off the bench in this series. It's something, like you said, Pia, you have to continue to stick to what you do. Yep. What you do works. And I think Chris Finch has shown that. I was expecting to see maybe a couple more guys in that Warriors/Lakers series, and we didn't see it. I think that's maybe a tip of the cap to, hey, what we're doing is working. Let's continue to do that. But now you have a different beast. You have a Thunder team that has way more depth, way more size, way more athleticism than you saw in the first 2 rounds. Hopefully we're able to kind of, feel it out in game 1. Cause like you said earlier, it's you get a week off, you scored 30 whatever points in the first half. We're -7. I don't love that.
Well, they're just sharper because they've been grinding.
Exactly.
Isn't that accurate?
I think it is. I think that's why Vegas puts it at 7. Yep. Obviously home court and, with with how it went through the regular season, but I don't like looking back at the regular season versus these 2 teams. Right. I think it's games in January and February that neither of these teams were clicking the way they're clicking now, especially the Minnesota Timberwolves with what Julius Randle is doing. So I don't know. I expect to see just a real coaching kind of chess match between these 2 guys because I think they're both excellent at what they do. But most importantly, defensively, that side of the ball is going to be something important. I think a lot of these games are going to be some low scoring games. I think we're going to see some 90s to low 100 kind of type of games. I like the under in a lot of these ones.
See, I think it goes the other way.
Really?
Yes, and yeah. Well, it's then you can't look at the regular season.
It's true.
The majority of those games,
those were high scoring
with 2 of the best teams. Right. It's over unders in the NBA are so difficult, man. In closing, if you recognize this voice, please tell me what the individual's name is.
I want to win, man. That's all I care about.
Oof,
Allen Iverson.
I figured it was AI.
Do you remember AI?
Yes, of course.
To an extent. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander reminds me of him.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because his crossover is the best in the NBA.
Yeah.
And the way he sets it up and like the up and the down, same as Bubba Chuck, Boney, Allen Iverson. But Shea gets into the key, gets destroyed, and still finds a way for the and one.
Yeah.
Just like
I want to win, man. That's all I care about.
Does he remind you of him at all?
Well, now tell me, because I wasn't a huge, AI watcher as a little past my prime.
Yeah.
Obviously played with him on 2K and that kind of stuff. The crossover's nasty, but he wasn't shooting the threes in the mid range like Shea was he? Was he able to hit that shot?
Yes, Allen did everything.
Okay.
Allen did everything, and
Was he better from deep than Shea?
yes,
Okay.
yes, he was more of a pull-up transition 3 guy. But the comparison here is and Lindsay Whalen was like this when she played in the WNBA and for the Golden Gophers.
Nasty crossover.
Well, crossover, but fearless factor in the paint, knowing I'm going to get smashed.
Yes.
And I still got to make the shot.
Yes.
And that's just not like the way Randall plays, man. The football analogy I drew last week. That's just not for everybody. Not everybody can play that way. And it really throws defenders off when people relentlessly keep coming at them like SGA. All right. 10 seconds. Conley, what do you do? What do you do with Conley?
Yeah, defensively, I think it's tough, but I think offensively it gives you an advantage. There's not, somebody on this Thunder team that's going to really defend
SGA.
the way Mike plays. It's got to be SGA, right? So, if you're Mike,
I'm wondering, who does he get?
yeah, that's, I was sitting out there trying to go to my notes app and figure out who I think defensively is his matchup. I don't know, man. I think it's tough. I think it's really difficult when you talk about Mike Conley. I expect that 8-minute timeout, him to get out of there and Dante to come in and kind of roll with that type of
It has
lineup.
to be SGA.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, if you're a starting point guard for a team that's part of the Final Four, I don't care if you're 37 or 17. That's your job. He happens to be really good. Check him hard for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Catch your breath and then come back and do it again.
That's what it is. And it's going to be overtime. It's going to be a 6-7 game series. You've got to throw different bodies at them, show them different looks. It's going to take a lot of time.
We will listen to you on the radio tomorrow night, howling with the homies, and I'll see you in studio Thursday after game 2, okay?
Yes, sir. Love
before
you.
game 2. Love you too. Parker Fox, go Taylor. Good luck in that championship series. Chris Finch joins 9 to noon around the...
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Corner, KFA.
I can't wait. Final segment, 9 to noon, and I assure you that a winner will be chosen thanks to Succo Manufacturing, Fan on the Farm, Tractor Talkbacks. I got a winner. I got them picked out. There's a prize pack associated with it. If you weren't selected today, no hard feelings, and we love you for what you do, but tomorrow's another day. We'll be giving away prize packs all week. Before we get to the winner and to hear that winning talkback, the head coach, Chris Finch, joined PA to open the show. It is Wolves. It is Thunder down in OKC tomorrow night. And thanks to Second Harvest Heartland and also Prize Picks, PA kicked off the conversation simply like, hey, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
All right, man. Off to OKC today for you guys. One step from the NBA Finals. These are the good old days, aren't they, Coach? And good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It's we're ready. Had a few good days of practice, a nice little break. Finally get a chance to know who we're playing, and so we're excited to get going again.
Holy cow! Naz Reid had some monster games against the Thunder this season. Generally starting, Julius and Rudy missed 3 of the 4 against those guys. Is this a good matchup for the Point Julius offense you guys have run so successfully?
Yeah, I do believe so for a couple of reasons. One, it's something that we do well, so you obviously want to keep doing things that have been good to you. But also, there's a lot of pressure. They bring a lot of pressure to the ball. So the more ball handlers that you have on the floor, guys who can initiate your offense, the better it's going to be. And avoiding that pressure is going to be key in this series.
Chris Finch's inclusion, weekly 9 to noon, is courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. Also Prize Picks. Isaiah Hartenstein, he never shoots for more than like 8 feet from the basket. What's key with putting him maybe on some bad games?
Well, I mean, first of all, he's a really smart player. He's a great pressure release when they throw the ball to him in the middle of the floor. He does a good job of finding cutters. He's mostly a pass-first guy, a little bit of a poor man's Vlade Divac in that way. But he's got a nice touch. To your point, he's doesn't shoot from much outside of 8 to 10 feet, but he's got a nice little floater. He's a lob threat and pick and roll. Does a great job of working down underneath the basket and relocating opposite their drives. So he's been a heck of a pickup for him, not to mention the defensive impact that he has, which is really high as an outstanding rim protector and pick and roll defender.
So with Hartenstein and Holmgren, I mean, with those two leaving SGA out of the mix, just dramatically different than the last two series, right?
Yes, yeah. You have way more size at the rim protection. They do a great job. Obviously, number one defense in the league. They do a really good job at all different levels. They pressure you on the perimeter. They're heavy in the gaps. They can turn you over. And then if you do get by them, they swarm the rim with great size. And so, yeah, to your point, every series is a little bit different. Every team has different personnel strengths and tendencies, and these guys are the complete package. And we tell our team all the time that the further you go through the playoffs, there are no more flawed teams. There's teams that do certain things better or not as well, but no one's flawed at this stage. There's no significant flaws that teams are going to beat themselves with. You got to go out and beat teams. No one's beating themselves by how they're constructed or their makeup.
And to that point, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets to the line a ton. In fact, second most of all players during the season and trailing only Giannis. When it comes to not beating yourselves, what are the teaching points with regards to keeping him off the line?
Just discipline, on-ball discipline. You got to have good hands. He's going to try to search your body out. You got to be physical, be able to take that hit, not react to it in a way where you become compromised, and he does a good job of baiting you for fouls. That starts pretty high up the floor. And he's not a guy who gets a ton of his foul calls necessarily at the basket. They happen more out on the perimeter or as he's driving away from the basket. So, you just got to be really disciplined. You got to show him as little space as you possibly can and have great hands.
Wolves and OKC, Western Conference Finals, 7:30 tomorrow night, KFAN. Alex Caruso for OKC. He triggers energy for them off the bench. And is that what Dante DiVincenzo does for you guys? And what makes Dante's role important this series?
Well, absolutely. Dante brings us that energy, and he's been playing great in this playoffs. His ability to come in and make a lot of small but impactful defensive plays, maybe blowing up an action, getting a steal, starting the break, rebounding at a high level for a guard. He's the guy that, has really helped us coming off the bench all season long, mostly with his shooting and scoring, and his defense has been very good and solid. But, I've been really pleased and impressed with his defensive impact in the playoffs for us. And in this series, he's been there before. He's got great experience. He's fearless. You need players against Oklahoma City that are going to play a simple game, play in straight lines, play strong, and he's done all that.
Caruso, correct me if I'm wrong. That was a pretty nice signing by them, right?
Oh yeah, great, another great pickup. The guys that they brought in and guys that make winning plays, guys that have had some playoff experience before, guys that fit well with the roster construction. They're not heavy usage, so they didn't disrupt their style of play, and just pretty much seamless fits.
Chris, how does one prepare the days up to this series for a single team when two were playing until yesterday, or is it just more about you guys until you know who you're playing?
Yeah, mostly we prepared more, about us, things that we wanted to do regardless or do better. We also wanted to make sure we played live quite a bit just to stay sharp. There were some small points of emphasis that we worked on with both teams. But largely it was about us.
What so kind of off what we discussed last week up to that Warrior series, what did you guys do differently this 6 days up to the Western Conference Finals compared to that run up to Golden State?
Yeah, I think a little bit more live action. We had 2 really good days of live action. At the last break, we really only had the one, and it was probably a little bit more controlled. That was one. I think just understanding kind of, our mindset, you could just tell was different. And I think a little bit more business-like in its approach. I think the last one, we're probably, I wouldn't say we weren't focused. I would just say that, we took a breather a little bit, and just kind of relaxed. And so therefore when the series started again, Golden State was coming on to the highway 100 miles an hour and we were going 50.
How about your division, the Northwest? Holy cow. I mean, you guys, OKC, Denver, Portland became a little bit of a tricky beat at times. Kind of a gauntlet, this Northwest division, right?
That was a meat grinder, as it was last year. I think the top 3 teams in the West were all from our division. But, you could say that about the whole West in general. But, it's been a tough one, and it's going to continue to be a tough one. I don't see anybody in those 3 teams going away anytime soon. Portland had a heck of a second half of the season, and I think Utah's about ready to, start to gear up to win some games too.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, weekly 9 to noon. Thank you, Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. Just a few to go here. Chris has to be done at 15 after the hour to get ready for tomorrow night. Anthony's ankle. How's Anthony's ankle, and did the time off heal all wounds?
Yeah, his ankle is fine, and the time off has definitely helped us all. I know Mike Conley was really looking forward to a few days. He had an outstanding series against Golden State. He put in an incredible amount of work, chasing Buddy Hield all around the floor, chasing Podzinski all around the floor. Taking those shooters out of the series was absolutely key. And Mike was incredible with that. So. And
with Conley, I'd imagine getting Mike Conley some points, specifically early, is important, right? And here's why. You guys are 8-0 in the playoffs when Conley scores, and 0-2 when he gets blanked. I mean, that's key stuff. That's key stuff there, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of heavy analysis to that one. I mean, we definitely need Mike scoring. We've needed that for a long time. We've always been at our best when he is scoring the ball for us.
Yeah, I mean, if he hits one early, you look at Mike and go, yes, we can't lose, 9-0 now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of guys, and now, Anthony had 12 assists the other day. That was, great job finishing off Golden State in that series by just kind of playing an excellent floor game. Mike scored well. Julius is creating offense. So we have a lot of guys now who can create some offense for their teammates, and we don't just need Mike to create offense for everybody.
What speaking of Conley, last one here, then one more in Edwards, and we're done. What are some facets of Mike Conley's leadership that consistently resonates with the team?
I think just steadiness, just so steady, really is not bothered by anything, always prepared, probably just carries out a game plan, rarely makes mistakes with the game plan, just really solid, not bothered, not emotional, just all the things you would expect from somebody with his experience.
With your bench and the 8 you play, you've said it before, and so have many others, with Nasri, Dante DiVincenzo, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Those are 3 who could start for most teams in the NBA. Oklahoma City may not have, like in Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins and the other Jalen Williams, they may not necessarily have guys who could start for as many teams, but their bench is solid for what they do, right?
Very, very solid, and they all can contribute in their own ways. They all have contributed. What I've noticed with Oklahoma City and their bench is, they're moving throughout different parts of their bench as they move throughout different series. Kenrich Williams didn't play much in the Denver series. They played the other Jalen Williams, the Arkansas Jalen Williams, more to match up with Jokic. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Kenrich Williams back into the rotation, against us. And so they do have a deep team, a bunch of young players. They can all, a lot of them can shoot it. They all play to their strengths. They know exactly who they are. And, they're easily, interchangeable in a lot of ways.
I wanted to save the best for last, and it involves Anthony Edwards, one of the very best in the NBA and the best overall player on your team. And how about the run Edwards has been on? I mean, seriously, he had FIBA into the 2024 season, then plays through the Western Conference Finals, then the Olympics, then this season, never takes load management days. Anthony Edwards is a tremendous machine, isn't he?
He is. He's a freight train. He's built for it. He loves to play. He loves the competition. And, that's what we love about him is his willingness to play and compete every night and be ready and answer the call and be there for his team or his country or whomever, is one of the aspects of leadership that, in the modern game it can't be overstated. I mean, if you want to be a leader, you've got to be there on the field every night. And that's one of the best ways and simplest ways to do it.
You're the best, my brother. Safe travels. Best of luck these next 2. And then when you get back, and we'll chat next week, okay?
All right. Thanks, PA. Take care.
That's head coach Chris Finch of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thanks to Second Harvest Heartland and Prize Picks joining PA to open the show. Game 1 mañana, tomorrow evening, right here on these airwaves, PA.
It's nervous time for Howl Nation. As you know, OKC, formidable. Wolves, formidable. This is going to be great. You know what else is great? Giving out a Sioux Cup Manufacturing Prize to a Farmer on the Fan talkback, and here it is.
Indeed, today's winner, here is your talkback, courtesy of Sioux Cup Manufacturing.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Patrick calling from the tractor feeding cows here in South Dakota. We have all the corn, soybeans, oats, peas planted, and the good Lord blessed us with a little rain the last couple days. In a couple weeks, we'll have all the cows out on their summer pasture, and the Wolves will be playing in the finals because we have the best bench, period. Eat beef.
Hit it with us.
How?
Yes. Congratulations to,
amen, brother,
to Patrick B. And he's the first winner, Fan on the Farm Tractor Talkbacks of the Sioux Cup Manufacturing Prize Pack. Patrick will be taking home a Carhartt cooler, Brewmate canteen, portable JBL speaker, coffee tumbler, hoodie, and Sioux Cup baseball cap, simply for listening to the Fan while he's farming, hitting that talk button, that microphone on the free iHeartRadio app, and sending in his best 30 seconds on where he's at, what he's farming, and, he had me with the howl. To be honest, it was an elite howl. So Patrick B. is our first prize pack winner of the week.
And many more talkbacks tomorrow with the Fan on the Farm and every day this week. So it pays to listen to 9 to noon. Great having you back, bud. Love you very much. Good to see you.
Love you. Great to be back.
Yep, and God bless you and your family. Thank everybody wholeheartedly for listening to 9 to noon today. We'll be back with you tomorrow for a Timberwolves Talker Tuesday on your audio leader for everything funky, Finchy, and fun. FM 100.3 KFAN. The program is next. God bless all of you. Bye.
9 to noon. I know, right? Just listen. Just listen.
The game is over.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.